Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rochester Rotary January 19th Zoom meeting. My name is Ron Lichtam. I serve as your club president. Would you all please stand and join me in Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
that stands, one nation,
under
God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, would you please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned. I think today it's supposed to be, is Rachel, you the one doing the invocation?
I am.
All right.
Dear Lord, as we look over the past several months, there are so many challenges we faced. Globally, as a community and individually, we have been tested. But through adversity comes beauty. Today, we ask that you help us turn our frustration to determination, our judgment to understanding, and our hopelessness to faith. May we use our renewed positivity to ignite service above self in the hearts of all those we encounter. As Martin Luther King once said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. May we strive to be the light. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rachel.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Yes, Kyle, do we have any guests today?
Yes, we have a number of guests today. Can everyone welcome Doug Hemmig, Joel Bacon, Jenna, and Heath and April from C-SPAN.
All right.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Your Assistant Governor, Linda Ludy, is here also.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Welcome, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay, 15th sign-on today was David Erdley. Do we have any happy bucks?
I'm happy.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So actually, I'm happy for two reasons. One, I want to thank everybody who voted for me for being on the board. I hope to serve and move our club, forward. And I'm excited about that opportunity. And I'm also excited about what's going to happen tomorrow. The transition of power, unlike some countries that have revolutions and violence and things like that, I hope that we have a quiet and calm transition, and this country continues to move forward, because God knows with the pandemic and everything that's going on, we need to move forward and get past this point. So I pray for this club, and I pray for the United States of America.
Amen.
Thanks.
Here.
Anybody else?
Ron Lichtel,
Yes, sir.
I have one.
Okay.
This is regarding one of our student exchange students. As the last time we seen her was a year ago, December. She had came to the meeting with her dad. And at that time, she was trying to go back to Shanghai to go to college because she had taken a gap year after she graduated from Notre Dame. And she went to Taiwan as an exchange student. So happy to say that she came out of quarantine 2 days ago. She flew over to China, had to go into a mandatory 14-day, and she's out now and gonna go to school over in China. So
Wow.
just trying to keep track of some of these kids and make your heart go big, because we are doing good with these kids. So hang in there.
I appreciate that, Tom. That's good news. Hopefully things are opening up a little bit more.
I have a happy buck, Ron. Today, my little girl turns 5, my Maya. So excited to celebrate with her when she gets home from school today.
That's awesome. And 5 years old. I'm trying to remember when my kids were that age. Actually, my grandkids
Be a
are.
reminder, I can drop them off anytime.
Oh, there you go. Actually, my wife would like that. She loved taking care of the kids when they were growing up. All right, anybody else? That was good. Birthdays. Tom Asmuth, January 22nd. Actually, we have two on January 22nd. Tom Asmuth and Ernie Schaefer. And then Paul Haig on the 23rd. So let's sing happy birthday to the Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. $5, please. Especially you, Ernie. Okay, club anniversaries. Vito Papalama, 6 years. Jerry Wankett, 33 years. And Jeff Whitby, 36 years. Club announcements. Ernie, you have something to say about Paul Harris.
Yes, I think most of you are aware of the fact that the founder of Rotary was Paul Harris. And of course, as a result of that, several of the most prestigious awards you can receive in Rotary is the Paul Harris Award. Well, today it's my pleasure to announce and honor one of our own who has made a significant commitment for Paul Harris, and that is none other than Tim Crawford. Tim has made a significant contribution to the Rotary Foundation, and because of that, he is receiving his 6th Paul Harris. If you can see that, that's the pin. Tim, I don't know how I'm going to get this to you, but we'll get it there. But on behalf of the Rochester Rotary Club, District 6380, and Rotary International, it's my honor to make this award to you, simply as a token of our appreciation for your major donation to the Rotary Foundation. Certainly in making this contribution, you have demonstrated the one guiding principle of Rotary service above itself. So thank you, Tim. We really appreciate you stepping up to the plate here and signing up for a Paul Harris Award. Let's give Tim a round of applause.
Hey, thanks, Ernie. I appreciate your leadership.
I want to give a shout out to Bill Wagner, president of SCA. And he also mentioned this, that he was a Rochester Rotary member. He matched the Stony Creek High School Interact box of food donation to the neighborhood house. I think he deserves a round of applause. Thank you, Bill. Rotarian of the Week. Last week it went from Ray Dorr to John Somerville. Somerville, do you have anybody you want to award that to?
Yeah, I want to award that to Mr. David Erdley. Did a nice job hosting the meeting last week and looking forward to his leadership of the club in the coming Rotary year.
Awesome.
Thank you, John. That's very kind of you.
All right. I mentioned it last week, and we had quite a few people that respond to me. We are, David Early and myself are looking for places to host our meetings when we go live in 2022. We're good for this year, but we've been told by Rivercrest that he's going to look at selling his business. I hate the move, but I think we're going to have to. So we've gotten quite a few in. Shirley Goforth gave me a few. I'm trying to think who was the other. Oh, Jeff Whitby also. So if you got any ideas, please forward it to myself or David Early so we can start getting way ahead of the curve here. Our sheriff this week is going to be the sheriff, Steve Shettenham.
Hi there. How you doing? Just a few things. I strongly suggest to come early to the meeting. We really call that the pre-show now. We've had diaper talk. We've had a lot of discussions. I think we're going to actually, forget the sheriff's report. We're going to actually have a competition on, trying to beat each other's mother-in-law stories. I think that's going to be the, I think Linda Eastman right now is leader in the clubhouse with the best mother-in-law story. The good news is they all ended with a happy ending. So, but if you missed the pre-show, Linda can fill you in later on her story with her mother-in-laws. Also, while I'm looking around the screen, it's always good to see a few things that are happening out there. One thing is, if anybody should see Jerry Gross, we're kind of on the lookout for him. I don't know what's going on with him, if he's down and out or what the problem is, but Jerry, please come back so we can see you in the screen. Also, if you take a look at Al Jones's, that is giving us his best, Jack Nicholson impression. So kind of take a look in that square. So if you kind of lean forward, Al, so we can see you really good. But that's really great that you could maybe take Phil Loman's place today and bringing some kind of costume to the event. Also, if you remember from school, it's not good to be eating in class if you don't have something for everybody. So Ray Dorr, Hap Walton, George Crozier, anybody else that I missed, you're kind of eating on the camera and, you didn't have enough for the group. So you're kind of all in trouble. That's a $5 fine for that. Also, let's see. Also, if you haven't signed up in COVID news, if you haven't signed up to get your shot, make sure you sign up for your shot. It's probably not something that the police chief should be saying for you to encourage you to get shot, but make sure you check on the Oakland County site. If you haven't done that, that's a $5 fine. If you didn't come downtown this weekend and check out the ice sculptures, that's a $5 fine. Also, an extra fine if you tried to break off a chunk and put it into your drink over the weekend. That's a $5 fine. Let's see. Dwight Eisenhower held the first presidential press conference today in 1955. So if you've ever watched a press conference, been pressed for details, or even just pressed your clothes, that's each of those are a $5 fine. In 1903, a new bike race was announced. That was the Tour de France. So if you think riding your Peloton in the basement makes you the leader with your yellow jersey and all, that's a $5 fine. Holiday news, it is National Popcorn Day today. So if you've ever made popcorn from a Jiffy Pop or a hot air popper, you're probably just old, and that's a $5 fine. And if you are the person that tries to sneak popcorn into the movie theater, that's also a $5 fine. It's National Tin Can Day. So if you've ever opened a tin can, flipped your lid, or kicked the can down the road, those are all $5 fines. And last but not least, since we're running a little bit late, since the pre-show was so good, it's the Hunt for Happiness Week. So if you found happiness, please don't keep it to yourself, and share it with the rest of us and let us know where you found it. So all the fines go to charity. So thank you very much.
We had a few comments on the Zoom. One of them was, I was cracking up, Linda said, let it be said that even though we got off to a rocky start, we became good friends later in life. Jiffy Pop. Do they still sell that? Yeah, they still sell it. That was when my grandkids were young. I told them, I said, I have some, I took the label off and I said, I have some magic popcorn. And I started moving it on. And I'm going, abracadabra, abracadabra. And their eyes got this big. I was like, anyway, we had a few items in the chat. Whole bunch of people were congratulating him and saying a great job, Rachel, for the prayer. And John says we only sold one master's ticket online. That's not good. Moving on. Tim Duncan, you have somebody to give us a talk today?
Yes, sir. So it looks like Yeah, it looks like we have maybe a couple speakers, but I will introduce our first one, who is Miss April Ranger. April has been with C-SPAN's community relations team since 2019. She coordinates and leads presentations to educate students, civics groups, and others about C-SPAN's unfiltered mission and how its resources provide a window on Washington. After teaching in the New York City and DC area for 13 years, April returned to the nation's capital in search of a new chapter in her career. She began her time at C-SPAN as a receptionist before shifting gears into a community relations role. While she's been a member of the C-SPAN family for just over a year, April is no stranger to the Public Affairs Network. She's been an avid fan since growing up with her grandmother in Washington, D.C. In her spare time, she enjoys cooking with her nieces and nephews and teaching virtual Sunday school. When her TV isn't tuned to C-SPAN, you can bet it's tuned to a good comedy. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming April Ranger.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It is wonderful to be here with you, Michiganders. It's wonderful to be with you all. I am definitely going to present today, but I do have my colleague, Janae, who's on the call, who will also help us out to answer some questions later on. And then I do have a couple of colleagues on the call who just like to come and support. So if you see them, say hi. All right. Now, let's get into things. Let's really see what's going on inside the world of C-SPAN. So now some of you may remember that television was once 3 giant networks and a government-supported channel called PBS. But back in 1979, which was before my time, of course, our small network with an unusual name rolled out a big idea. We wanted to let you decide all on your own what was important to you. We opened the doors to Washington policymaking, bringing you unfiltered content from Congress and beyond. Now, in the 41 years since, the political and media landscape has clearly changed. But we think you'll find that C-SPAN's big idea is more relevant today than ever. These unprecedented times demand an unconventional approach to political news coverage. And I'm going to share with you ways that C-SPAN, both on television and online, is a powerful media resource, widely trusted, with a wealth of easy to access tools for following the day's events and enabling you to be a better informed participant in our democracy. So, underpinning our nonpartisan coverage of Washington and the nation's politics is the fact that no government money supports C-SPAN. It is funded as a public service by your cable or satellite television provider. And so we're there for you, offering something distinct in today's media so that you can make up your own mind. And although you'll be muted today throughout the Zoom, please feel free to type any of the questions that you'll have in the chat section at the bottom of your screen. And near to the end, as I said before, my colleague Janae and I will answer your questions. Now let's dive right in. Throughout our history, our democracy has faced many serious challenges. But think, have we ever faced so many at once? Just in the course of the last year, we've experienced the emergence of the worst pandemic in 100 years, an extremely volatile economy and job market, widespread social unrest unfolding across the country, and one of the most consequential fire and hurricane seasons we've had in years. And in addition to all of this, a presidential and congressional election cycles like no other in our history. So as we move into 2021, with a new administration in Congress, more than ever, people are looking, to their elected officials and their leaders in Washington to see how they will address all of these issues facing our nation. We'll show you why C-SPAN should be one of the key networks you turn to see how public officials are responding to these pressing matters, in their own words, of course, and, to see how their actions and policies are affecting you and your community. Now, one thing about C-SPAN is that we're different. We're purposely different. Let's talk about what that means. And let's talk about what that means for you. And we'll show you how you can use our unfiltered coverage and resources to view today's events and engage with news and newsmakers in ways that other media doesn't provide. Now, C-SPAN won't attempt to tell you what to think. Unique to television, we simply put you in the rooms where the most important political and policy issues are being discussed and debated, allowing you to watch these events in their entirety, for you to think for yourself, and as I said before, for you to make up your own mind. Now, a bit more about how C-SPAN is purposely different. Let's look at our business model, our unique perspective on public affairs news, and how our mission makes our coverage look a lot different from other media outlets. Now, if you think about it, 4 decades is a long time for a cable news channel. In fact, we were serving the public even before CNN and ESPN launched, and more than a decade before the other cable news networks started. So in that time, we've never veered from our core public service mission. We're uncommon in the media business as a nonprofit, independent enterprise. Now, the cable and television industry supported and launched this public service back in 1979. And contrary to many people's thinking, our funding does not come through the federal government. To this day, C-SPAN continues to be funded through fees paid by the cable and satellite companies that distribute television into your homes, like Comcast there in Rochester. So this funding model allows C-SPAN to be mission-driven rather than by TV ratings. And so we talk a lot about our mission. But let's take a closer look at how our mission is carried out by what we do. For us, the events and the people we cover are the focus. C-SPAN provides long-form programming. We show events from start to finish without interruption or editing, whether it's a 12-hour debate or a 20-minute press briefing. We show balanced coverage, providing multiple viewpoints, giving you a chance to hear from experts across the political spectrum who provide perspective and help you better understand the issues. Because quite simply, it's not about us. C-SPAN itself doesn't provide commentary. Lawmakers, decision makers, and journalists who create, influence, and report on public policy, they're the ones that provide that perspective. And just so you know, C-SPAN stays out of the way, giving our viewers direct access to these leaders. We invite viewers to participate in the discussions on social platforms, and most interestingly, live on TV, by allowing you to call in to share your thoughts on our Washington Journal morning show and ask your questions on whatever topic is being debated. So, how does C-SPAN mission guide us to the events you'll be watching? We provide unparalleled coverage of Congress with live gavel-to-gavel coverage of floor proceedings from the U.S. House of Representatives on C-SPAN and the U.S. Senate on C-SPAN too. Even during the counting of the Electoral College votes, our coverage did not change. We covered the entire joint session of Congress until almost 4 a.m. And while Congress was locked down in true C-SPAN fashion, we opened up our phone lines to get your reaction on what had occurred rather than giving our opinion. So in addition, we also cover committee hearings where decisions are made about the issues that affect your life, not just the blockbuster events, but the day in and the day out inner workings of our national legislature. And we go deep into the corridors of the Capitol to show you briefings by congressional leaders in the House and the Senate, as well as influencers in Congress, whether that's the Congressional Black Caucus or the Freedom Caucus. Now, with our coverage of the executive branch, which includes nearly all public events, meetings and briefings at the White House, as well as many other briefings from officials in the different departments. Now, we're covering the transition and inauguration for President-elect Biden, the confirmation hearings for his new cabinet, and the agenda for his first 100 days. And speaking of the inauguration, C-SPAN will have live coverage of the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Our coverage will continue throughout the day on all platforms, including C-SPAN, C-SPAN Radio, and cspan.org. Don't miss it. And though we cover the Supreme Court, The Supreme Court doesn't allow cameras in the court itself, but we air audio of major cases, including live coverage of oral arguments since the court was forced to go virtual due to the pandemic. We've also covered all of the Supreme Court justices' nominations and confirmation hearings and their public appearances for insight on their judicial philosophy. Excuse me, take a drink of water. Now, our programming focuses mostly on what is going on in the federal government, but to provide our viewers more perspective, we often cover state officials, showing how they're handling national issues on the local level. Your Governor, Gretchen Whitmer, has been on C-SPAN 37 times discussing issues important to the state of Michigan. But beyond our coverage of elected officials, C-SPAN covers many events of national importance, whether that's a NASA SpaceX launch or relevant debates like our weekly coverage of the Prime Minister's question from the British House of Commons. So, as you've seen, placing the camera in the rooms where these discussions and debates take place is C-SPAN's bread and butter. But in order to provide a fuller context for the decisions being made by our leaders and get past the talking points, we go beyond coverage of events. We aim to add context through call-in programs like the Washington Journal, where decision makers and journalists answer viewer questions and discuss what's happening in the news. Here you can see Here you can see a reporter from Lansing, Michigan, who reported on basically the state capitol there in Michigan. I'm sorry, your capital there in Michigan. We also air in-depth discussions with authors through our weekly Q&A book TV programming. We feature lectures and firsthand accounts of historical events on American History TV. And we show experts as they debate solutions to public policy issues during forums at a diverse array of think tanks and advocacy organizations. Now, as we switch gears a little, there's a lot of discussion about the role of the news media in our society today. And you often hear the term fake news. And in the midst of all of this, C-SPAN is widely recognized and credited by others as factual, neutral, and trusted. And as you can see on this chart created by the media watchdog Ad Fontes, C-SPAN ranks at the top for our production of factual content and right in the center for our neutrality. This has been our journalistic goal for 40 plus years, simply by providing viewers a front row seat to our democracy in action. Now, for those of you who may be familiar with our programming, our place on this chart probably comes as no surprise. But for those of you who are less familiar with us, we hope this provides some credible perspective on our role in the media. But before we get to your questions, we'll share how you can access our content. So first of all, we have 3 television channels dedicated to providing live public affairs programming: C-SPAN, C-SPAN 2, and what do you know, C-SPAN 3. You can find us online at cspan.org, which is our video-rich website with live access to each day's coverage. Everything we cover is then available for on-demand viewing. Our website features a free video library with over 265,000 hours of our programming, and that grows each day. Online programs can be watched in their entirety, or for quick viewing, we feature points of interest that jump to the highlights within the entire event. So say you want to make your own clip and share it, you can do that too. Now, let's take a look at cspan.org's Congressional Chronicle, which gives you detailed information on what's happening in the House and the Senate. This is where you'll find a unique page for every member of Congress, with the committees they sit on, their voting records, bills they've sponsored, and more. For example, here's the page for your local member of Congress, Alyssa Slotkin. There you will find her 67 C-SPAN appearances. You can also search for your position on a variety of topics like healthcare, taxes, and anything else you want to search. Our website also features a full page dedicated to the government's response to the coronavirus. So stay up to date on the coronavirus conversations and that are taking place in the administration, in Congress, and on the state level. And get the latest on the virus's spread through our site's interactive maps and charts. And if you are an educator or you know an educator, C-SPAN Classroom is a free service we offer to teachers that has lots of lesson plans, bell ringers, and a documentary competition. We even have a competition that we have every year called Student Cam, where students can earn up to $5,000 for making a video about something they'd like to see the government focus on. And I'm happy to talk about that with you during the Q&A process at the end. All right, so if you want to stay informed while on the go, use our free C-SPAN radio app, your one-stop shop for live stream of C-SPAN radio, audio from our 3 television networks, and a wide variety of podcasts. And make sure to follow C-SPAN on Twitter for more timely content. Engage with the topics of the day on our Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram for features and peeks behind the scenes. And visit our YouTube page for even more video highlights. And if you like to get your news by email, C-SPAN also has a variety of newsletters you can sign up for, including Word for Word, which cuts through the daily news clutter and provides you a synopsis of political happenings, a program guide with daily schedule information, and our weekly newsletters with previews of what's going on Book TV and American History TV that upcoming weekend. So as you can see, we stay true to our mission while expanding to serve our audience in innovative ways with fresh concepts for our digital platforms and devices. And as the C-SPAN teams work together to provide this service, it's the comments from our viewers, everyday Americans, influencers, and leaders who value C-SPAN that strengthens our resolve to remain purposely different. Check it out.
That C-SPAN is a mirror of our country. They are unique in this brilliant model, and all they do is hold up the mirror so we can see ourselves.
So I say this every time I'm on. For your view, I've spent 20 years in that building behind you there covering it, and I could not do that job without C-SPAN. It is, for your viewers, as somebody who spends his day watching this stuff, they're all seeing it exactly as we see it inside that building. It's an amazing resource. So God bless C-SPAN.
Hi, good morning. And thank you for being available for the public to give us direct, unfiltered, unopinionated news.
First, I'd like to say I've been watching you guys for over 35 years, and I want to thank you so much for being on my cable stations. It's a pleasure when I watch your congressional hearings and watch the whole thing. And then I watch the news and how they report it and see how it differs. So I want to thank you guys very much for being one of the few stations out there that gives us real information.
Let me just also echo what so many of your callers have said. I want to thank C-SPAN. It is so refreshing to be able to turn on the television and watch an event. And I watch Republican events too, and to be able to do it without a lot of talking heads tell you what you've just seen or to interpret what was just said. I think the American people are smart enough to figure things out themselves without having everybody tell them what they heard or what they just saw or to interpret what was just said. So I want to thank C-SPAN.
So there you have it. We know we won't be your only source for public affairs news, but we hope that our time together here helped show you how we can be an important complement to your other news sources. We really appreciate your time today and hope that you've learned a little more about how and where C-SPAN fits into the modern media landscape by following the principles of our big idea, letting viewers decide all on their own what's important to them, by opening the doors to Washington policymaking for all to see, and by bringing you unfiltered content from Congress and beyond, and by serving it to you on any of the devices you go to for news and information. C-SPAN's big idea is more relevant today than ever. Now, I guess we will go to some questions if you have any. Janae, do you have any questions?
I do see one in the chat asking, well, actually, we have a few questions. So the first one that I see, let's see, it says, how can we get a copy of the slide that you gave with the different news media and their bias, left, right, and center? And also, they couldn't locate PBS NewsHour. So how does C-SPAN really compare in terms of neutrality? And I will say, as far as getting a copy, afterwards, or I can even put in the chat the link to the source. C-SPAN doesn't, start that. It is by a media watchdog kind of source called Ad Fontes. So I can send you the link because I know they do one daily. And I think for some of the different charts, you can actually search for different news outlets for it to direct you to, let's say, PBS NewsHour or whatever the case might be. As far as how C-SPAN compares, of course, we're both nonprofits, but C-SPAN is just a little bit different in the way that we cover our things because we are mission bound to always cover the House and the Senate anytime they're in session. So regardless of what's happening in the news, if the House is in session, if the Senate is in session, we will show you that unedited from start to finish, as long as they're there. And then, of course, we do have a call-in program every single day where we let our viewers call in and discuss what's happening in the news. But I'll let you kind of determine how we're different. But those are just some key things that C-SPAN does that are a little different from, I would say, a lot of networks. Another question that we see, and also I will add that our video library is pretty rare in the sense that everything we show on air is then archived on our website. And not only is it archived, but it's also transcribed. So it's a great primary source. Let's say you want to refer back to an event, not only can you go and watch it, but you can search through the text to see exactly what an elected official or what an expert said on an issue. And then you can save that clip and share it if you choose to. So great for research, great for sharing as well, and unique to C-SPAN. I do see another question. So again, another one about the chart. Just saying it should be easy to find. And again, we'll put that in the chat for you to make it super easy for everyone to see. And then I see one asking, does C-SPAN have a daily summary of headlines? And so to answer your question, that's a great question. We do this in different ways, right? So the first thing that I would say is our newsletter is a great resource, whether that's word for word, which kind of gives you like a daily synopsis of what's happening in DC. And so it comes out every evening around 5 o'clock. And basically it takes you through what happened for the day, a quick like brief synopsis of what's going on. And of course, links it to like the video if you actually want to watch the full event. That is something that I watch, look at every single day. It comes to my email and that'll kind of keep you up to date with what's happening. Quick, straight to the point. It doesn't take long to read. And you can sign up for that on our website. Also too, on our morning show, we do kind of break down the headlines between that day and maybe the day before. And that's of course where we let viewers discuss, but our people, whether they're our guests or our hosts on the morning show, do kind of go through a breakdown of what's happening around the country and in Washington. And then oftentimes when it comes to events that C-SPAN has covered on our video library, you can go up there and sometimes you'll be able to see all of the events, but sometimes there might be like a synopsis of events. It just depends if it's a really busy day in Washington, but all of that is on our website. And then of course we do have our call-in, it's not a call-in program, but it's on our radio in the evening, and they basically talk about what's happened in Washington. So there's multiple ways that you can kind of see a daily synopsis, but I would say the easiest one is the email because it comes directly to you. It's sent daily and really highlights what's happened around the country. Let's see, do we have any additional questions? And feel free to unmute yourself if I didn't fully answer your questions, or if you have more, we're happy to get into things. So. And if not, April, why don't you tell them really quickly? I know I went over some things about just how to stay connected, and I'll keep monitoring the chat just in case any additional questions come in.
Okie doke. So let's keep you all connected, not just via Zoom. So before we finish our time together, people always tell us it's difficult to find what's going on. Here's some ways you can do that. On whatever social media platform you participate, find and follow at C-SPAN. From our website, sign up for one of our email newsletters, register for a free My C-SPAN account on cspan.org. And when you've done that, you can easily set up anytime alerts for any of your favorite congresspersons or politicians who are appearing on C-SPAN. Also, watch for an email from us arriving after this with more detail on how you can do these things and more ways to keep informed, engage with other citizens, and keep connected to C-SPAN. Thank you all. Thank you very much for participating in this session with C-SPAN today. We certainly appreciate your support.
We definitely do. And I do see, before we go, we had 2 quick things and a comment. Great presentation. Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate that. Someone did say, watch out for media bias in the charts. And of course, you need to watch out for that in the charts and really everywhere. You know, we want to be super literate with our media and really just make sure that you're taking in all perspectives. Another from Tim. Thank you, Janae and April. Another from Linda. Thanks for your super presentation, smiley face. We appreciate that. And I did see one question about inauguration from David, I think. Yes. Will you be covering the inauguration? So I wanted to pull this up really quickly. Ooh, I'm seeing more comments coming in. Thank you all. But C-SPAN will be covering the inauguration. We always do. And let me know, can you see my page right here?
Yes.
It will give me a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So we're covering the inauguration, of course, tomorrow, starting live at 7 a.m. That's when our Washington Journal show starts typically, but we will be showing it all. It'll be on our TV stations. It'll be on YouTube as well as on our website. We also have a page dedicated here, so you can actually just go to cspan.org. It's directly at the top of the page. And it'll show you our live coverage from the inauguration, but you can also watch past presidential inauguration ceremonies, as you can see here from over the different years. So a lot of great things for you all there, a lot of archived history, but of course we will be live showing you everything as it's happening, as if you were right there for inauguration. And I will stop sharing that. There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. A few more positive comments. Most informative presentation. You said it, not I. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherry. And thank you everyone for your comments. We appreciate it. And April and I will hang out. We'll let you finish club business, but we will hang out in case you have any additional questions. So thank you all again. And also, really quickly, I know April might mention this in her email when she follows up, but we do have a Senate book. It is one of the best books, in my opinion, that C-SPAN has put out. It's absolutely gorgeous. It gives a detailed information about the Senate. And so one thing that we've been doing, because we always try to look for how can we give back to, Rotarians that allow us to be a part of their meetings. And given that all you guys do in the community, if we can do anything to give back, even if it's to you all, we feel like we're doing a little something. So
Absolutely.
I do want to thank you, of course, for your time. And April will send that, but offer the opportunity for you all to get a free copy of our Senate book, award-winning Senate book, sent directly to you all. No fees attached because, again, this is our thank you to you. And so April will send the link, but you just send us your name and your address. I promise you, we won't save your address. We don't need it. But we will send you a beautiful Senate book for you to have. It's a coffee table book for you to just have and keep in your collection. So look for an email from April for that. And then if you want to just fill out the survey, we'll make sure that it gets mailed directly to you all.
Yes, I'll definitely stay in contact with Tim so I can get all of that information.
Okay, thank you, Gene and April, for the presentation. That was interesting. Do we have any other? You're welcome. We have any other comments or questions before we close the meeting out? And you can stick around and talk with Gene and April. If that's it, I'm going to close the meeting out and have a great week. We'll see you later.